Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
No is not the only thing that was expressed tonight. We said yes to science, yes to vaccines, yes to ending this pandemic, yes to people's right to vote without fear of fake fraud or voter suppression. We said yes to women's fundamental constitutional right to decide for herself what she does with her body. Yes to diversity, yes to inclusion, economic justice, social justice, racial justice, environmental justice, our values where California's made so much progress. All of those things were on the ballot.
But did you say yes to the dress? Gavin Newsom still the governor of California. Wasn't even close. It was a landslide. Of course, there's already the talk of voter fraud and stuff like that.
Whether or not you win or lose, will you accept the results of the election?
I think we all ought to be looking at election integrity, no matter whether you're a Democrat, an independent, or a Republican. Let's all make sure that the election is a fair election. So let's all work together, no matter what the results are, to make sure that the results are valid and legitimate, and everybody who voted should have voted. Let's all do that together.
Is that a commitment to accept the results of the election?
Let's all work together on both sides of the aisle to make sure that the election is a fair election.
Yeah, I'm feeling like he's not going to go away quietly. Already hinting at voter fraud. Look, California is still what California is. When you listen to, here's a perfect example of what politics is all about. I want you to listen again to what Gavin Newsom said about all the yeses.
No is not the only thing that was expressed tonight. We said yes to science.
You didn't say yes to science. You didn't say yes to science at all. You listened to very little of what science was about, unless the political wind blew it in the way that just happened to be on your side, like a clock, right? It's a broken clock, right? Twice a day. You are out of the woods when it comes to being recalled only because your draconian rules you started rolling back a few months ago. Because otherwise, you'd be in the same position you were a few months ago when it comes to this. You were worried about this. You didn't listen to science when people told you should. Hell, we're not listening to science. A booster's coming. FDA, two of their bigwigs, the bigwigs at the FDA, they left. Why? They wrote an opinion piece. They think this has become too political, but most importantly, what they think is the booster is not needed. Still doesn't matter. I mean, I love it when you hear, well, we listen to science. We listen to science.
We bought enough boosters, enough booster shots, and the distribution system is ready to administer them. The booster is likely to provide the highest level of protection yet. As soon as they are authorized, those eligible will be able to get a booster right away.
Those eligible? I was reading an article yesterday where people were like, I'm telling them I haven't even had one shot, so I can get a booster. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you? That is the insanity. No, you didn't listen to science. You didn't. You got lucky because you took a look, saw the anger from both sides of the aisle that were coming because of your rules, and you survived this. You survived this. You did. And it had implications far greater than just California.
California Governor Gavin Newsom will keep his job. ABC News making the projections based on exit polls and vote analysis.
Thank you to 40 million Americans, 40 million Californians, and thank you for rejecting this recall.
The stakes of this recall election had national political implications. If Newsom was voted out, the next governor would appoint a new senator should Democrat Dianne Feinstein retire, potentially tipping the balance of power in the chamber.
Yeah. And on top of that, there was no way the Democrats were going to see Cuomo and Pretty Boy, New York, California, both out. Could you imagine that? Cuomo, your hero. And this guy, potentially, many people thought a chance because of his looks and whatnot to be the next president or the next big thing inside the Democratic Party. Sorry. They couldn't. They poured tons of money, tons of money. How much money did they throw at this? How much money altogether?
This recall election is already on pace to be one of the most expensive to date. California's Secretary of State saying that it's cost already nearly $300 million.
$300 million. Insane. He sticks. California's California. People are going to blame Elder. I think some of the stuff he started to say towards the end did not help him. But let's be real. The entire media, outside of a few, was all about destroying that guy. Now, I've met Larry on a few occasions, obviously being in the business. For those of you guys who don't know who Larry Elder is, he's also a nationally syndicated radio talk show host. I grew up listening to Larry, in my formative, early talk radio days. But as a young adult, listening to him when he was at KABC in Los Angeles, I like the guy. He's a good guy. He is a genuine individual, and he grew up in a very conservative household. And I will tell you this: they came after him. They didn't want to lose. If it was the choice between Cuomo and him, I think they would have chosen Cuomo. But they knew Cuomo has no chance, and he was gone. So they poured into this. But he stuck it out. But it shows you, though, the power of 2 months ago and how the media flopped just as quickly as possible. Just, whoa! And at the end of the day, it wouldn't have mattered. Larry Elder had zero power. If Larry Elder would have won, if he would have won the governorship, he had zero power. Or we could have done some executive orders here or there. And yes, if Feinstein went away, he could have appointed the next senator. But the reality is he had zero power. The supermajority in the legislature could crush him. Quite frankly, they can crush this governor, Newsom, if they wanted to. That's the kind of power, and that's the kind of one-sided it is in that state. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. I do. I was sitting there, and again, you listen to, we got the boosters. They're on the way. The boosters are coming. And, you listen to people out there talk about this. And again, it's all about the fear side of it. It's all about the fear side of it. Listen to Fauci here. I have no idea why they continue to throw him out there. I have no idea why he's still doing what he's doing. At some time, you would think it's time to bring somebody else in. This needs a new voice.
These are people who are vaccinated but still got COVID. What is the potential that this spirals beyond Delta to monster variant?
Well, there's always a risk as you get more circulation of virus in the community that you'll get enough accumulation of new mutations to get a variant that is functionally different than the ones we're seeing now. Delta has the capability, unlike Alpha, of transmitting extraordinarily readily and efficiently from person to person.
So there's always a chance.
One of the reasons why we want to make sure we get as many people vaccinated as we possibly can is that viruses will not mutate if they don't have the opportunity to spread and replicate. So the more dynamics of viral activity you have in the community, the greater opportunity you give to the virus to mutate. So it's one of those things that you're vaccinating now to prevent the next mutant from coming, the next variant from coming.
And I have zero problem, again, with the shot. It's not a vaccine. It's a shot. I think we need to treat it like that. It's going to offer you a very decent amount of protection. But the most important thing is going to offer you a protection from death that is pretty damn good. You're looking at really, really good. At the end of the day, you got to make up your own choice. Got to make up your own mind. And I don't care what anybody says. I've said it over and over again. I am pro-science. I am absolutely pro the shot. Do your homework. I am pro the shot. But I'm also pro-freedom. And I'm pro-responsibility more than I am any of those other things.
It isn't all about you. If you get infected, even if you don't have any symptoms, it is likely that you will pass the virus on to someone else, who might pass it on to someone else, who might have a severe outcome leading to hospitalization and even death. So you've got to look at it that you're not in a vacuum. You're part of society. And do you want to be part of the component that propagates the virus and propagates the outbreak? Or do you want to be part of the solution?
I think we all want to be part of the solution. And again, there's that group of people who don't believe that this thing exists. You can't help those people. Those people are going to live in their own world. But you heard him there. And what made me think more and more about this is he's talking about this virus and you know, the mandate / workaround that they're doing with OSHA. If you think about this for a second, you're asking people who are unvaccinated to get tested. He just said people who are vaccinated, you're going to be asymptomatic probably, so you can pass the virus. Well, why isn't everybody getting tested? Why isn't everybody getting tested? Shouldn't every single person be tested? Because if you're asymptomatic and you could still spread the virus, the chances of you spreading the virus and keeping this thing going is pretty damn big. Now, one person can die from it, obviously, but the other person can spread the hell out of it. According to you, you just said it. So why shouldn't everybody be tested? That's interesting. Just a thought. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. A lot to get to today, including the loss of a legend yesterday at age 61. People had no idea that Norm Macdonald even had cancer. Even some of his closest friends had no idea the struggle he was going through. And to get the news yesterday, he passed away. We got some of his funniest bits, but what a brilliant comic and just a true loss of somebody who did not give a F. And he was brilliant. Talk a lot about that as well on Facebook. What did you know? How much did you know about some of the harm you're causing when it comes to certain things? So much stuff to get to. Hey, Roman Ready. You know what that is? Well, it's ready to perform when you need to, when the moment's right. But before you've had erectile dysfunction, you struggled because you weren't Roman ready. Go to GetRoman.com/Chad now. Talk to a U.S. licensed healthcare professional. So Roman Ready is confidence that you can rise to the occasion in the moment. You don't have to worry about your ED. Right now, U.S. licensed healthcare professional will take your call /Zoom / you can do it all right there from the comfort of your own home. They're going to find out the best treatment plan for you. Medication is appropriate. Ships to you free within 2 shipping days. Get started. It's simple. Go to GetRomanReady.com/Chad. Complete an online visit. Take care of your ED, all from the comfort of your home. Simple and easy. And you're going to save big. GetRomanReady.com/Chad today. Go there. If prescribed, 50% off your first month of ED treatment. Make sure you're ready to have confidence and control this summer. Get ready. Get Roman ready. Chad Benson Show.
Set Chad straight. Text the show 323-538-2423. That's 323-538-CHAD. Someone has to do it. Might as well be you. The Chad Benson Show.
Allee, ga alle vriendjes terugzien. Luc, Rita, Marek.
This is a funny video. I'm going to tweet it out. You can watch. It's in, I think it's Dutch. It's a little girl leading her dad back to the office, like dads and moms have to take their kids back to the first day at school. The dad doesn't want to go, right? He's shaking his head. He says, I don't want to go. She's asking, do you have your lunchbox? And then, Steve from accounting comes up and he's like, see, you have a friend. And then the lady comes out. She's like, come on in. So, because nobody wants to go back to work. You would think. Actually, look, I love what I do, so I don't have a problem with it. I know a lot of people out there have gotten used to it, but there's also there's a difference. And I think what people found out, the hybrid model is probably the best model for a lot of people. An older generation, by older, I mean Generation X, upward, because we're used to communicating in person. We're used to being around friends. We're used to being around, where we can just walk down the hall and talk to somebody. A younger generation is finds it much easier, I think, at times to work from home in some ways than the older generation does. And that'll change, I think, when they get older, too, because you'll find out that, stuff, well, who knows with the younger generation what will change. But my on-air partner for my local show, he was out for like 10 days. So I was on vacation, and like the second day I was on vacation, his wife had tested positive for the coronavirus, and she's fine. She had she had I think Pfizer, Moderna, and she's totally fine. And but he had to quarantine, so they kept him there at the house, and he was chomping at the bit when he got in. Like the last 3 days that we did the show together, when I came back, you could hear the edge in him. It was just he hated it. And when he got in, it's like, it's so good to be back. And for a lot of people, if you can't compartmentalize, working out of the house is extremely tough. Now, for me, I had a good run at it because when I did voiceovers, it was, it wasn't that bad on just a full-time basis when I did voiceovers. I still do voiceovers, but I just did it on a full-time basis. But you have to be able to go, I got to leave my house for a while. You have to have things that you do, whether you go and work out, whether you go for a long walk, or you meet somebody for lunch, just to treat it like that. Because otherwise you will go crazy. But this is hilarious. I love it. I love stuff like, speaking of The Office, guess what we kind of did?
Government relief passed in response to the COVID-19 pandemic in the form of things like stimulus packages and tax cuts moved millions of Americans out of poverty last year. But the nation's overall poverty rate is up slightly. The Census Bureau says it's up 1 percentage point, with almost 11.5% of Americans, or 37 million people, living below the poverty line. It was the first increase after 5 consecutive annual declines. Daria Albinger, ABC News.
Man, I tell you what. So wait, let me get this right. Well, we had a drop in earnings as far as household earnings, by about $2,000 per household. On top of that, you had a situation where if the government gives people money, you find out that things help. That can't be sustainable. I think we know that. But at the end of the day, I think we weathered it. We spent a lot of money on stuff we shouldn't have. But now the question is, how do we really get back out there in a way that is real? Not stop-start, not 70%, but real. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
For Democrats all across the country, I think it was a wake-up call that you've got to start messaging and connecting early on, or we will lose some very key battleground districts.
Yep. Newsom keeps his gig, but it was a wake-up call, and we've talked about it. Both sides. If you guys live on the extremes, it used to be you campaigned further away from the center to get the base, right? So that's how you do that. You campaign further away from the center to get the base. But in the reality, you talk about everybody always says they want to be a uniter, not a divider. They come towards the middle and they settle somewhere in there. Now, both sides seem to think the best place to live is the fringes. And they live there. And the average person, you and I, right? The average human being going about our day, every single day we get up, we go to work, we get our kids off to school. We're worried about other things. We're thinking about other things. We've got other things on our mind that have nothing to do with living in the world of the extremes and the fringes. And yet that's all that they seem to talk to. Defund the police, that, there's 17 million genders. There is, where everybody's racist. And, it's just, you can't live there. And on the right, screaming about every election you lose, it's because it was stolen. And then there's some sort of big machine that is conspiring against you. And that, again, if you live in that insanity, it's just completely ridiculous. And You wonder why good people don't get into politics, because they don't want to live there. So many, I always keep saying, I think the problem is it's getting out of the primaries for a lot of these candidates who would be good candidates, who are smart, who've got good common sense, have a nice understanding of things, who I think would do admirable jobs and at times amazing jobs, but they can't survive the gauntlet of insanity at first, because who gets involved in this is people that are hyper focused, and it's frustrating. I always say, like, sometimes you can put, you'll go like, man, if that person was on a national stage, they'd be great. The problem is they couldn't get out of that. Well, then the other candidate's better. No, the other candidate appealed enough to the fringes that would show up and vote at that moment in time in that side's party. But what ends up happening all too often on both sides of the aisle, when they get out into a general election, they get their ass handed to them because people don't live in the fringes, and those people come out. And so if you're going to do something, you're going to have to learn to campaign in a way that can activate the people that normally don't get involved in primaries, in off-year elections, in politics in general, until it's like it's like the Olympics. They show up at the big times. Maybe every other midterm they vote, but they'll show up. So you've got to really figure out how you get a machine moving in such a way to energize people enough to come out, because that's what will put a dampering down on the extremes. Otherwise, we're going to continue to get what we get. Everything's a conspiracy. Everything's insane, or everything is about defunding the police and everybody's a racist. And that is not healthy at all. Speaking of not healthy, Facebook, we're looking at you. They knew. Oh, they knew.
The Wall Street Journal reports research at Facebook, Instagram's parent company, raised concern about how the app makes some teenagers feel about themselves and their appearance. According to a presentation from March 2020, 32% of teen girls said when they feel bad about their bodies, Instagram made them feel worse. Another slide saying teens blame Instagram for increases in the rate of anxiety and depression. The Wall Street Journal claims Facebook has publicly downplayed the research.
I don't know what they can do. And, I've tossed this around, and look, we live in a world, I don't care what anybody says, right? Like, we live in a world of comparisons, and it's tough to live in that world. They talked about, look, social media, look at everybody else's life.
Now you're going down a road where you're looking at somebody's life and you're comparing your body, and then you're looking at somebody's home life and you're comparing your financial situation.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I don't know what they can do. Now, we talked earlier that social media is, we've talked about this with us on numerous occasions. I would get rid of social media myself, outside of having something private where the people I actually know, I know face to face. They may not be near me, maybe across the country, whatever it is, but we have a relationship where we've talked as human beings, and, because it is angry. It is hateful anymore. It is so many different things. And the lies, disinformation, the BS that goes on there. And then also the lies of just regular individuals' lives. I mean, how many of us have friends and you'll look at their lives and on Instagram or whatever, you're like, I know that dude. His life ain't that good. I know her. She ain't living like that. And that's sad. And then you take that, because we are a comparison world. Everybody, and people say, oh, you can't live like. Everybody gets compared. You go eat a burger somewhere, and you're like, well, this burger's good, but it's not as good as such and such. You know what you're going to a certain thing. It's like, the reason you go there is because you've had others, you compared it, and this is what you like. Yeah, in a pinch, you can try something else, but this is kind of it. We live in a comparison world. I just don't know what they're going to do about it. I mean, it's, if you're a young kid, right? You're a 13, 14, 15-year-old girl in particular. Even boys now, they struggle with this stuff. I mean, we live in a very vain society. I love my son to death. He's a vapid individual. It's about as much as the looks. Even the other day, he had his first big hockey practice. He had a big tryout for a team, and his, his mom's just like, it's all about how he looks on the ice half the time. It's not whether we win or lose. It's how do we look doing it. It's tough. I have a stepdaughter. Same thing. It's about looks. So much of it is like, it's like you live in a world of TikTok and Instagram and all this stuff. What are they supposed to do? Because kids have done this since the dawn of time, right? I'm sure there were cave kids who were like, ooh, 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 like this person over here's got this. And that's life. This just exacerbates it. They knew about it, but at the same time, I was thinking, they're probably thinking, what the hell do we do about it? We're not going to put an age limit on it because we live in a world of influencers and things to that. And we're not going to put we're going to get rid of likes. Well, if we get rid of likes, there's a problem there because these influencers that we like and we need on here, they're going to go somewhere else because part of their revenue stream and part of what brings us money is the fact that people are sharing and liking. It's not like cigarettes where they knew and they're just like, don't show this to anybody. Burn it, and then we're going to kill you because you knew about it. It is different, and I don't know what to do. I don't think anybody really knows. I think the most important thing you can do is like the most important thing to do is talk to your kids, right? Parents are like, is there any other way? Nope, that's it. It's the only one I know. You're going to have to talk to them. Are you sure there's nothing else? And then the other thing is also to be honest with them. And it sucks because you don't want to look at your kid and be honest with him in certain things. Right? You don't. Like, my son loved football, but I was honest. I'm like, dude, you're slow. Right? You got a cannon for an arm, but you got cement for feet. Sorry. It's the reality of it. And he was like, oh, I was honest with him. It's like those are like, that's not mean. It's just being real. It's can we do that? Dude, look, it's, sometimes you look at somebody like yesterday I was sitting there and we were talking a bit about this and there was a picture of Megan Fox at the Met Gallery. And if you've not seen it, she looks otherworldly. She doesn't even look real. And I said, if you're a 13-year-old girl or 15-year-old girl and you look at that, that's genes. That's the lottery of life is what she got. You're not getting that. If you don't have it now, you're not getting it now. You try to make yourself look better. You can do all of those things. You can enhance certain things, if you will. But the reality is what she got, you ain't getting it. It's like speed, right? You can't teach speed. You can't teach somebody to have a chin in boxing. You can't teach funny. You can make all of them better, but you can't teach it because part of it is just who they are. But I still don't know with social media, when it comes to disinformation and hate, AI and the way that they do things, you could fix some of those things in a much easier way without having 22-year-olds going, well, I don't like what this person said, even though it may be based in fact. I get to be the arbiter of truth. No, you could do a lot better with that. When it comes to Instagram and people looking at other people, that's a tougher thing. That is. Absolutely. Speaking of funny, we lost a genius yesterday.
I'm Norm Macdonald, and now the fake news.
Norm Macdonald, known for his dry delivery and laid-back stage persona, had been battling cancer for the past 9 years, a battle he kept private. He lost that battle Tuesday. A member of the Saturday Night Live cast for 5 years in the 90s, Macdonald was probably best known for his time on the Weekend Update desk.
Christy Brinkley told reporters this week that her marriage to Billy Joel was over long before their divorce. The key moment, she said, came when she realized that she was Christy Brinkley and that she was married to Billy Joel.
He got to start doing stand-up. His first TV gigs were writing for Dennis Miller and Roseanne. After SNL, he had his own sitcom and hosted various shows, but always returned to his first love, telling jokes on stage. Norm Macdonald was 61.
Absolute brilliant genius. And here's something. Genius. That wasn't taught. That was just something that was natural. That's just something who he was. And in a day and age where people live out in the open, 9 years he had this. Nobody knew. Nobody knew. Close friends of his had no idea that he was sick. We'll play some more of Norm throughout the day. Just brilliant, just an absolute brilliant guy. And it was the little things. He would say things that are off script, so subtle that you would have no idea. And then you would think about it, you're like, oh, damn, that was so quick. And it didn't have to be long and convoluted. And he would take something that was a stupid, why did the chicken cross the road, turn into a 5-minute joke, and it was brilliant. And he would take a joke that you would think would be long, and he'd make it short. But he hit it out of the park, time in and time out. And you just, this right here, subtle but brilliant.
And in music news, number 1 on the college charts this summer was Better Than Ezra. And at number 2, Ezra.
Just brilliant. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. My Pillow. I did not sleep great last night, although the place I stayed is amazing and they treat me really, really nice. I stayed in town, but my pillows, I just couldn't get comfortable. I miss my Pillow. I love my Pillow. Normally take it with me. I ended up staying up here yesterday. They're great, but they have Giza Dream Sheets. The sheets are amazing. If you like to sleep cool and comfortable with a little sateen finish, something that feels like a quadrillion thread, this is what it's about. Long staple cotton grown in a small area in the Mediterranean. When you get these, you will feel the difference as you sleep. You will sleep so much better. So I want you to try them right now. Normally they're $100, now under $50. Different colors, different sizes, machine washable, 6-day money-back guarantee. Get your Giza Dream Sheets. Simple and easy. Go to mypillow.com. The promo code is Benson. Take advantage of all of the other deep discounts on the MyPillow, the mattress topper. They've got the slippers back. 2 years to perfect these things. You can wear them indoor, outdoor. They've got a patented fill as well as a gel. You will love these. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
Check out our Chad Benson Show Facebook page where you can hang out or hang your grievances out to dry. This is Chad Benson.
You guys listen to the fabulous Chad Benson Show program. God bless each and every one of you. Appreciate that. But if you've been around long enough to know, producer Phil, remind everybody what nature will do to you.
Nature will mess you up.
Mess you up.
A massive alligator suspected of attacking and killing a man as he waded through floodwaters caused by Hurricane Ida has been caught, according to officials in southeast Louisiana. Authorities trapped the animal, measuring 12 feet and weighing 504 pounds. The gator was found to have what appears to be human remains in its gut. It's believed to have attacked and apparently killed 71-year-old Timothy Satterley Sr. last month. Satterley's wife said she was in their home when she heard a commotion outside. She ran outside to find a large alligator attacking her husband and tried wrestling him from the grips of the animal's jaws. She pulled him from the water and onto the front steps of their home, where she left him and went to seek help. When she returned, he was gone.
Yeah. Alligators, crocodiles, polar bears. There's a few animals out there that human beings are prey. If given the opportunity, they'll take it. So, and I was telling producer Anthony, I saw this movie. Came out 2019 with Barry Pepper. Great actor. And he lived in like Florida or Louisiana. Big storm rolled through, kind of like this hurricane. And what ends up happening? Flooded up into the house. And what happens at that point in time? Crocodiles and alligators and anything else that can, float or swim, they're coming ashore too. Look at this. Look at this. We're here. You guys think of those apples? And the guy's stuck in his house. And lo and behold, it's a battle between him and alligators. They will hunt. And she left him. So it's not like sharks, right? Like sharks usually take a bite. Very rarely will you hear of a shark attack where a shark will come back. And the worst shark attack maybe ever happened in, I think it was South Africa during a Christmas break. And a lady on the first bite, she was bit in half right in front of everybody. And when they came out to try to get her remains, the shark actually came back and took the rest of her. You will never, very rarely. This is what an alligator, crocodile, they'll do. They'll hunt you. Because nature, as we all know, kids, will mess you up. It's that simple. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. They are breathing a sigh of relief today in California.
Thank you all very much, and thank you to 40 million Americans, 40 million Californians. Thank you for rejecting this recall.
Yeah, so not a shock. Newsom is still the governor and will be. But did it hurt? Did it hurt him nationally? He held on, but so much of that, I think, is due to the fact that when you look at it, the COVID restrictions that he had put on, draconian, and of which he followed very little of, and it was not a good situation, and it really cost him, and I think it cost him on a big level.
This recall effort, though initiated in February of 2020, widely seen as a referendum to the governor's handling of COVID. The governor violated his own COVID-19 restrictions in November of 2020 when...
Yeah, remember that? Went to a restaurant. Everybody else indoors, can't do anything. Restaurant's still open. He's not in there with a mask on. People were pissed about that. His kids, same thing. Supposed to be masked, they weren't masked. People get frustrated. Do as I say, not as I do. But he survived, and that's not a shocker. Much like nature will mess you up, the Democrats in California will mess you up too. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
For the past couple of weeks, Newsom and his Republican rival were polling neck and neck, but then the Democratic machine began rolling to fight this recall, and all of that changed. In fact, last night, Newsom's victory was so lopsided that the race was called barely half an hour after polls closed.
Yeah, the machine came in and did what it did. And by the way, the machine isn't just, the likes of Biden and Kamala Harris and the Democratic Party. You also have to throw in major media outlets who were not a fan of Larry Elder because they're also racist. What? That's not very nice. Well, he is black, and they wrote a lot of horrible things about him and said a lot of horrible things about him. And, they give a lot of these people on the left certain passes. And, just like the right publications write a lot of horrible things. But I expect things like Breitbart, I expect them to be pro-conservative. When you're supposed to be looking at the New York Times and MSNBCs and the CNNs and the LA Times, you're supposed to be journalists, but you're not, and we know that. Part of the Democratic machine is the fact that they do have the establishment side of the media. The good news for the conservatives is there are other outlets and other ways of getting word out there, but he was always fighting an uphill battle. First of all, he doomed himself when Trump kind of got involved talking about fraud. That did not help at all. Period. Case closed. End of story. Secondly, the Democrats threw so much at this because they could not afford to see their two biggest governors gone in 6 weeks' time. From Cuomo with all of his issues to this and the recall. The fact that it got this far should be a wake-up call. But the reality is they did what they wanted to do when it came to this. They poured tons of money in. About $300 million went into this recall effort. But at the end of the day, you were always fighting an uphill battle, especially without a name recognition. If he was taking on... So when Gray Davis was asked out, right? That was back in the early 2000s. So Gray Davis was gone. Arnold replaced him. Arnold was massive. He was popular at the time. Right, so he didn't just have a name recognition in the state of California. He had a worldwide, global name recognition. Secondly, he was popular at the time. People on the right and left, we hadn't gotten to this point where we had disdain for one another. And the other thing is, Gray Davis was weak. The Republicans had an easy time of it because Gray Davis really put a lot of the Californians in a bad position. The same thing happened here with the way that he handled COVID, Newsom, but the difference was it wasn't as weak as Gray Davis was, and he sure in the hell didn't have the power going up against him that was, because really it was just Arnold. That's all it was. It was just Arnold. And yesterday they flexed their muscles and they crushed him.
The victory seemed a resounding affirmation of Democratic power in California. Newsom raising $70 million the past couple of months and enlisting the party's biggest power brokers, including Barack Obama and President Biden. The Republican-led effort costing California taxpayers nearly $300 million, but its lasting legacy may be the allegations of fraud before a single vote was counted.
Yeah, and that does not help. It does not help. I mean, here I am in Arizona. We're still, by the way, waiting for the results of the audit. The audit is still going on. The audit that was supposed to take 2 weeks to count and a month before they had the results. We're going on 6 months. They said they're going to release the information as soon as the Arizona Supreme Court has ruled on something. I don't know what's in front of them at this week in time, but it has been an absolute joke. Then you had several people come out and claim that, look at all these people that voted, but there's no houses here, only to have that debunked within 5 minutes. But you know where this is going to go. You're claiming fraud before it ever happened. And this is nothing new. Go back 5 years ago, 4.5 years ago, the Democrats were doing it with Hillary. So shouldn't be surprised that he won. The resounding beatdown, I think, will surprise some. But, again, you get what you get, and you get the people you vote for. And the people you vote for, California said, we want this, but it helps the Democrats because, A, they kept power in a way that they needed, because if Feinstein leaves, she retires, the reality is she would have been replaced if Larry Elder was the governor by a Republican, because he would be able to appoint. And at that point in time, well, it tips the balance in Senate. So this had bigger ramifications than just singularly California, but it also shows the power of the Democrats and the fact that they're starting to go, we better pay attention nationwide. If we don't start doing some stuff a little bit smarter, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Last week, I didn't pick up on, there's just so much always going on, but I touched on it briefly a couple times last week. I just want to play this insanity of the world that we live in. This is Jimmy Kimmel. And we talked about Vaxenfreud. So Schadenfreude, the German word, you revel in somebody else's misfortune. We live in a world now where you have Vaxenfreud. And I hear it more and more from people who get upset because somebody else didn't get vaccinated. And when something happens to them, they celebrate the misery.
The number of new cases is up more than 300% from a year ago. Dr. Fauci said that if hospitals get any more overcrowded, they're going to have to make some very tough choices about who gets an ICU bed. That choice doesn't seem so tough to me. Vaccinated person having a heart attack? Yes, come right on in. We'll take care of you. Unvaccinated guy who gobbled horse goo? Rest in peace, Wheezy.
What did I keep saying? Hospitalizations. That's what you need to look at. Are there places in the country where they're struggling? Yeah, there's some places. Not everywhere. Here in Arizona, where some people are still freaking out about it, you look and it's like our hospitalizations are lower than they were when COVID started last year. Our ICU numbers are a little bit lower, but you would think that, oh my God, we can't ever get out of this. And then you hear somebody like that, Jimmy Kimmel, who's, you look and you're thinking you revel in that. And you had a doctor on MSNBC last week essentially saying, hey, we're just not going to treat the unvaccinated. I'm like, that's what happened to the do no harm, right? What happened to that? Oh, yeah. Sager and Crystal Ball over there, if you ever check them out, if you want people that deliver real news, people that deliver real stories, people that dive deeper into stuff that is not fake, it's not baloney. You got Sager and you got Crystal Ball. They have I think it's called Breaking Points on YouTube. They're brilliant. One's conservative, one is liberal, and they bring you all sides of a story. And it's great. But, I was watching them the other day talk about, I'm like, they're the only ones talking about this. MSNBC's got this doctor essentially saying, hey, you know what? Screw the unvaccinated. Like, nobody pushes back. I'm like, really? It's like, that's it? Screw the unvaccinated? Yeah, totally. Because they chose not to get it. Well, first of all, they didn't get the shot. I'm good with choice. Great with freedoms. Yeah, but they're part of the problem. No, the problem is we fight. The problem is we look at this thing because we're getting fed all kinds of crap every single day about this thing being the most dangerous thing in the history of things, when you actually look and go, okay, you know what? 99.1% of people will survive even without the vaccine. And it is dangerous for a group of people, absolutely. But you go and you look, and it's funny because they'll talk ICU beds that are occupied in each hospital, like the New York Times yesterday. They're not telling you how many of these people are COVID related. Again, certain states are feeling it. Certain areas of the country are feeling it more than others. Yeah, that's right. But a lot of places really aren't. And it's funny because they start more than 99, more than 95%, 90 to 95%, less than 90%. What's less than 90? That could be 10%. You're not putting that. Because everybody skews the numbers in the ways that they feel that are going to get them eyes, and it's ridiculous. I am pro-shot. I am very much pro-science, but I'm also pro-freedom and choice in life. You could only do what you do. But when you have people that are celebrating other people that are getting sick or laughing at it, and you're hearing about people that I can't be friends with somebody, it just, you sit there and you think to yourself, I can't do that. I just don't. I don't buy into that logic and BS, because if I'm protected, I've had it and I've had the vaccine, that's all that I can do. I've done my part and I know I'm going to be okay. So if somebody else has done nothing because they think it's nothing, well, they've done what they think is right for them. But they're of no threat to me. If you think this thing works, they're not. But you could get sick. You might. But probably not. And you're probably not going to die from it anyway. But you throw this on there with, and I've had it. Can't have a conversation, man. I'm just telling you. It is so frustrating. When I hear people, though, kind of half-ass celebrate something like that, I sit there and think to myself, you're the one that's supposed to be the kinder, gentler side of the aisle, and instead you're a smug, pompous ass. 323-538-2423, at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Rough Greens makes any pet food better. I give it to my dogs every single night. Sprinkle on top of my dog's food. It is a supplement. It's called Canine Vitasmart. Vitamins, minerals, vegetables, non-GMO, probiotics, omega-369. It brings your dog's food to life. Normally in life, when they say you get it for free, it's usually crap. Nope, you're getting this for free, and it's amazing. All they want you to do is cover the cost of shipping, because they know you're going to become a customer afterward. When you see the difference. If your dog has joint pains, you will see the difference. If your dog has allergies where they struggle and they've got hot spots, watch what happens to their fur and how they are. If your dog has digestive problems, give it to them. Find out how much this could change the way that their life is being lived. You will see a difference. RUFFgreens.com/Chad. Try it now. It is free. You cover the cost of shipping. Roughgreens.com/Chad. Call 833-MY-DOG-77, 833-MY-DOG-77. At Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Chad Benson Show.
Helen Keller is a Nazi terrorist that is a male. Is that what you're telling me right now?
Yeah.
Are you thinking of Hitler?
Who's Hitler? Vaccines work, but only the Chad Benson Show is 100% effective against stupidity.
Do you know what D-Day is? D-Day.
A person? A rapper?
God, Karen, you are so stupid.
Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and wherever you find your favorite woke-free podcasts. This is the Chad Benson Show.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending? Let us take a peek, find out what is trending upon thine internet, shall we? We shall. Let's start over in the magical world of Google. Norm Macdonald, biggest trending search over the last couple days, 24 hours. Passed away yesterday at 61. Had cancer for about 9 years, told nobody. People close to him had no idea. But a lot of people were reliving so much of his wry sense of humor, his brilliance, his genius. And some younger people yesterday, I was playing stuff here for some of the millennials that work in them. You know, they're in their mid-20s to early 30s. They'd never really seen Norm, and playing them some of the things and making them laugh, but watching them cringe was brilliant because Norm liked that. Norm wanted to make you hate yourself for laughing at some of the stuff he did. A loss. Top of that, shows you the world that we live in has changed tremendously. Why is that? Because Google trending searches in the U.S. As a kid growing up, my buddies and I who love soccer, if we were lucky, we got 1 or 2 hours a week of soccer on television outside of watching the Mexican League play on Sundays in Spanish. We'd have to go to the malls, and a special mall by my house that was very shishi, and we buy, these magazines, and most of them were, French or Dutch, just to see, the players and stuff. The top searches outside of that yesterday were all dominated by Champions League. And it was awesome just to see that. It was incredible. Love it. Love it. Mark Milley, of course, he jumped on the write a book about Trump, put Trump in the title, make a bunch of money. Because he's like, it took away the nuclear codes or whatever. You're like, okay, at this point, I don't even know what to do with stuff like that. Head over to the magical world of Twitter. The recall is trending still everywhere. Also, Mark Milley trending, COVID-19. People are asking question now. What's Larry Elder's next move? What's the next move? And 1 in 500 official in the U.S. debate vaccine boosters, a analyst, John Hopkins, and the U.S. Census Bureau data shows about 1 in 500 residents has died of COVID-19. And that can be debated all day long. Again, did you die from COVID-19? Not you, because you wouldn't be here talking to me, or was it all the other things? And COVID was the switch that was hit that sent people over the edge. I keep going to the CDC website, and when you go and you break down numbers and you look at stuff, it's like, yes, this thing is real. Yes, we need to take absolute care of people. We need to respect people, and we need to respect the virus. At the same time, when you go on their website, they're putting it now at 4.1 comorbidities. And the average age of somebody who's died is late 60s, early 70s. And that changes on a daily basis because they keep it pretty up to date with tons of comorbidities. So you look at that and you think, how many actually died from COVID? They're saying like 5% alone. That's something to think about. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
No is not the only thing that was expressed tonight. We said yes to science, yes to vaccines, yes to ending this pandemic, yes to people's right to vote without fear of fake fraud or voter suppression. We said yes to women's fundamental constitutional right to decide for herself what she does with her body. Yes to diversity, yes to inclusion, economic justice, social justice, racial justice, environmental justice, our values where California's made so much progress. All of those things were on the ballot.
But they didn't say yes to the dress. But they did say yes to Gavin Newsom, and God knows how much longer they'll have him. Joining us now is our California expert, the man in the know, Jim Kennedy, Kennedy Institute of Public Policy Research. All right, Jim, $300 million, $70 million poured in over the last, month or so just for Gavin alone. At the end of the day, I think people are surprised about the lopsided victory more than anything else.
Well, yeah, no, I am to a point too, Chad, but let's not forget one thing. These are all the mail-in votes that are being counted. The in-person vote, which actually generally is more of a Republican thing. But in this election, since it was a mail-in only vote, the Democrats mailed their votes in early. A lot of Democrats, because they were concerned about their votes maybe not showing up, went to the polls in person. So the numbers are coming down. I mean, Gavin's going to win probably still by significant margin. At this point, last night it was 66-33. It's already down to 64-36, and it's going to keep coming down as the numbers are added up. But yeah, no, it's going to be substantial. It's going to unfortunately probably be about 60-40 for Gavin, which is, I'm curious to see if it totals out to be less than the total percentage that he got in 2018. To me, if it's less than that, that's kind of a victory in the sense that, he didn't get as many votes the second time around. Considering how much money they threw at this was the only race on the election. You were pummeled with only ads for Gavin Newsom. There were probably 10 to 15 ads for Gavin. And if you don't vote no on the recall, you're going to die of COVID, and we're going to ban masks, and we're going to become Florida or Texas or something. So for that aspect, I want to see what the final numbers are. And being that this is California, the election results will not be official until October 22nd.
Good times right there. Good times. So Larry Elder, people are asking a question. Look, several days before this, the baloney started rolling in about, oh my God, it's going to be this and it's going to be that. And there's going to be voter fraud, because that's what you do now, because voter fraud essentially is a way, I think, in many ways to say, I wasn't beat. It was stolen from me. There probably wasn't any vote. And let's be real. You could have given a 2-for-1 in many cases in California. 2 votes for the Republican, 1 for them. And it still probably wouldn't matter. You got to prove it, right? Like anything else, you got to prove it. But he's set up early, in the week that this is voter fraud, and throughout the weekend, voter fraud. Look out for it. Where's the proof?
Yeah, no, absolutely. But it was interesting because last week I was already seeing stories on CNN and some of the major wire services saying that the Republicans are going to claim voter fraud. So they were already out there throwing this stuff out there. It's kind of it is somewhat disappointing on both sides to say that this is what it comes down to now. No, you're absolutely right, though. If he's got something, fine. Show your proof, show your documentation, bring out the subpoenas, bring out the affidavits. If you don't, take the election, take the results, go away. We're going to do this again in about 8.5 months, because the June primary is coming up again for the gubernatorial election. We're back into another election cycle. So basically, Gavin, if he wants to stay governor, is going to have to do this 2 more times in the next 11 months or next 13 months. So he'll have another shot at it if Elder wants to run again. And that's one of the questions that's going to be coming up is, will Elder run again? And I don't really know. I'm not sure that the party doesn't endorse people. He was obviously the most popular candidate, but the party did not endorse him. And I don't know that they would necessarily endorse him, or if he would necessarily win a primary for the Republican nomination, or for the one of the 2 top results, because of the jungle primary system in California.
Yeah, talking to Jim Kennedy, Kennedy Institute of Public Policy Research. I'm very curious about that when it comes to Larry Elder, because I would have loved to have seen them have a debate, because for those of you guys who don't know who Larry Elder is, he is a very smart man. He is a very, very charismatic man. He is very funny. He is there's a lot of things going for him, and he uses a lot of great common sense. And I think he walked a fine line of trying not to embrace the Trump stuff, but at the same time not wanting to really push it away because you're going to need that. And I don't know where the Republicans in California sit, because I think every state is trying to deal with, do we want Trumpism, if you will, or do we want conservative kind of feel for what Republicans used to be? I don't know what he's going to do from here, but I also don't know, what are the Republicans going to do? Are they embracing everything that's Trump, or are they looking for something different?
No, I mean, that's a question on the national level also, as it is in 435 congressional seats and in 50 states. Where do you go? I mean, this has been a problem since Trump lost the election last year. There's plenty of Republicans that did not come out to vote for Trump because they don't like Trump's brand of republicanism. I'm not necessarily the greatest fan of it, but I understand he is the Republican nominee. And, if you're going to back your party, you need to stand by it, just as there's a lot of people in California that weren't necessarily really thrilled with Gavin Newsom, but they're a D voter, and that D was next to his name. So they came out and backed him and voted for him. So that's going to be something the party is going to have to resolve, like I said, on a state, local, and national level, as to how much is Trump going to influence the party going forward. In California, Trump is a toxic thing, and that's part of what they did with what Newsom's crew did. Was they basically said, you're electing a Trump puppet if you elect Larry Elder. He's just another Trumpian. I still love the one that we've talked about before. He's the face of white supremacy in California, which is just so utterly ridiculous. I don't even know how you stand up and say that with a straight face. But it's going to be a question of how much it is. Like I said, Trump is toxic in California. I don't see the party adopting it. California at this point is you really have to go with someone like a John Cox or Kevin Faulconer. You need somebody who is possibly a pro-choice Republican, just because of the way the state is and where it's demographically and the way the people are voting in the state right now. A true conservative is going to have a very uphill battle. And if you're a conservative that's not a Trumpian, which again, you're going to get some of the Trump voters aren't coming out. That's the thing about Trump that's kind of scary for the Republican Party, is he pulls out some Democratic voters like Reagan did that weren't going to normally vote for a Republican. So if you lose the Trump side of that, then you lose those voters, state, local, and nationwide. California, that's not a lot, but it's still more votes that than you might have gotten if you're a true conservative. So that's something that's going to be up in the air that the party's really going to have to sort through. And I don't really have an answer for right now, but they've got 9 months to sort it out on the state level.
Talking to Jim Kennedy, Kennedy Institute of Public Policy Research. We talk about the Gavin Newsom victory, if you will, which is basically we voted to let you keep your job. National level, the impact would have been huge because everybody, I think, is pushing for Feinstein. I think people are asking serious questions about Feinstein as she's older. You're hearing more and more about, people would like to have her step away. Maybe sooner rather than later, because they're worried about, now they don't have to worry because Elder didn't win, because Elder could have put a Republican in there and all of a sudden the power shift in the Senate goes away. But on a different level, a lot of people are saying, Democrats have to wake up here, being this uber wokeness, defund the police, 4,000 genders, all of that stuff. This isn't popular outside of one or two places as far as top of mind goes, and that there's a lot of seats up for grab in the midterms, and that they should start learning how easy it is to lose your way.
No, absolutely. I mean, as all of us have seen for a number of years as we've gotten older and watched politics for 20, 30, 40 years, things shift. There are times when the Republicans thought they could never get voted out of the House. They've lost the House. There's times the Democrats ran the House for 35 or 40 years. When I was a kid, they lost the House. I mean, these things happen. We grow in waves in this country politically, one way to another. California, I don't think, is going to be the forever home of wokeness. At some point, you're going to get tired of it. You're going to get tired of homeless people living in your front yard. You're going to get tired of paying the highest income taxes rate in the nation. You're going to get tired of all the money that's going to projects that don't really help the average worker. You're going to get tired of an economy that's based upon about 500,000 really really rich people paying a lot of income tax and a lot of very, very poor people collecting that income tax. You can't run an economy on that when you're basically trading a tech worker who now works out of state and doesn't get taxed in California and his wife, who is a freelancer that does marketing, and replace that with four immigrants or legal aliens that have no job and language skills. You can't keep doing that. Your economy is not going to last on it, regardless of how well it's doing right now. I think we've seen a lot of in California. Remember, we lost a congressional seat for the first time because of people leaving California. Maybe some because of the pandemic, where they can go move to Tennessee or a lower tax state and still collect the same salary that they're working for their firm remotely. Or maybe it's just because, you know what, this is a good time for me to retire and move out of California because my pension isn't going to go as far in California as it is in Florida or Texas or Tennessee, where I have virtually no state income tax. That's, if you're in a high bracket, that's 12, 13% off the top of your pension that's going to the state of California that you can save by moving to a lower tax state.
Talking to Jim Kennedy, Kennedy Institute of Public Policy Research. All right. All that being said, the chaos, the craziness, it's over. It's done with. He's going to have to face it next year. A lot of people are saying, worst case scenario, this puts a damper on his national opportunity, because I think he was one of the muckety mucks that people looked at and thought he could be president one day just based on looks, not based on anything other than that. I think it has put a bit of a damper on that for them. And they had to bring a lot of the big guns in to help him. I don't know if that would have happened had Cuomo not bowed out. They couldn't lose both of their big stars. But this, I think a lot of people are going to think, I don't know if I want Newsom next time. Could he be primaried?
Yes, I think he can be. The problem is he'll be primaried from the left, because you can't primary somebody from the right as a Democrat in California in the current situation it's in. One of the key stats, or one of the key polling pieces of data that I saw early on, this is back in July, that they polled Democrats on if Gavin Newsom is reelected in the recall, if he survives, do you want him to run again, or would you like to see somebody else run in 2022 for governor? 58% said they'd like to see somebody else. So my thinking is that they aren't, the enthusiasm for Gavin, to me, this isn't as much enthusiasm for Gavin as it was over fear of the unknown of what would happen if Gavin loses. I still think he's tainted on a national level. I had a couple of Democrats last night call me, thought this was the greatest thing, and he is going to be a star on the, they're predicting he's going to be president by 2032 or something. I'm going, no, I don't see it. Besides, you can't really tolerate Gavin, in my opinion, in large doses. Yeah, he looks good. He's got a great hairdo, but he kind of is boring. And you look at him, he's a real policy wonk, and he gives you these long word salad type of answers. You kind of look at each other and go, what exactly is he saying? What exactly does that mean? And well, wait a minute, you did that already. You already spent $10 billion on the homeless. How is another $20 billion going to solve the problem when all you've done is increase homelessness by almost 50% in the last 6 or 7 years? So I'm not sure throwing more money at the problem, Gavin, is the problem or is a solution, because you're looking at it through the lens of wokeness, and that may not be the best prism to basically solve this problem. So I don't think his brand on the national level is really been helped by this. I think it staved off from him being politically dead. But like you said, they had to bring in a lot of heavyweights to get him to get him past this recall. And I'm sure they were happy to do it, but this wasn't something where he was able to do this on his own. He raised a lot of money, but on a national basis, I'm not sure that he's going to go very far. Plus, he's still got Kamala Harris standing in front of him, because she's always going to be the heir apparent until they dump him. And I don't think the Democratic Party, with its wokeness, is going to remove an African-American immigrant woman from the primary races to put in a white, cisgendered, rich guy from California. I don't think that's ever going to happen in the Democratic Party.
No. Jim Kennedy, Kennedy Institute of Public Policy Research. All right, Jim, I'm going to throw this out there. Then we got to jump, but I will tell you this. What I see happening is he finishes Feinstein's term. He decides, I'm going to appoint myself. She steps away. The next person comes in. He steps down. He jumps into that seat, wins it comfortably, has an opportunity to go to D.C., make some more noise, get out of California. And I just think that's absolutely a possibility, and he's just smug enough to do it.
Yeah, no, I think actually, and I actually think that's probably a good strategy for him if he wants to get some DC experience. So if he does try to run for president, he doesn't look like a complete idiot as far as understanding how DC works, because I'm not really sure that he does. I think that'd be a really smart move for him if I was Gavin Newsom's advisors, because he doesn't really have a lot more to win here in California. Yeah, he gets reelected and then he steps down maybe after the 2022 election or something. So technically he's won 2 terms. But yeah, I think that would be something, or maybe if he sees the writing on the wall next time, in 9 months, and it doesn't look like he's going to get pulled through, that 58% number that wants him out is accurate, he can get her to step down and take the seat before he runs and says he'll step away and make, what's her name, who's lieutenant governor, sorry, I don't remember her name, who would be the first female governor of the state of California. So they could do that and still look woke and check all the Democrat wokeness boxes.
Jim Kennedy, follow him at Righty Jim. Thanks so much, brother. Appreciate you coming along.
Thanks, Chad. Appreciate it.
At Chad Benson Show, Twitter, ChadBenson, Chad Benson Show.
Being antisocial sucks. Hang with Chad's friends on Facebook, The Chad Benson Show. And if you just need some alone time, head on over to Twitter at Chad Benson Show. Either way, we can't wait to meet the real you.
Agricultural runoff is a huge polluter, contaminating waterways and even sometimes making people sick. Now researchers say teaching cows to use what is essentially a giant litter box could help out as well. But cow urine mixing with feces also produces ammonia, which pollutes the air. And according to the EPA, 10% of all emissions come from agriculture, which is why agricultural researchers have invented this, a device they call the Mooloo.
The Mooloo, if you know what the loo is, it's they call it in Europe. Where you go, man? I got to hit the bog, the loo. Can I just say this? When vegetarians and vegans talk about stuff, I just look at them and say, you guys are not doing your part. I'm doing everything I can to eat all of the cows available. What are you guys doing? Nothing. Nothing.
It's designed to capture all of the waste a cow might produce. Despite conventional knowledge, cows can control their bowel movements and urination. So researchers taught a bunch of cows to use the Mooloo, finding that not only could they train the creatures to use the device in exchange for food, but that they could be trained faster than most human children, allowing all of their waste to be captured and treated before entering the ecosystem. It's a first step, but with greater adoption and potty training young cows with the Mooloo, we could have a chance at reducing pollution from agriculture.
Good luck with that. The Mooloo. Frank, hold on a second. Go over here and go to the bathroom. Move over. The Mooloo. So we're spending money on today, kids. The other day, they spent all this money on to learn like squirrels and chipmunks and things like that. Do they have different personalities? Who needs to know that? Who gave you all that money for that? Who did? Here's a grant. Go tell me if that squirrel over there thinks I'm a Richard. Do it. Go. Go now. I want to know. Does he not like me? Because I think he doesn't like me. I think he's mad at me. And by the way he treats his little friends, I think he's a racist squirrel. Oh, goodness me. That's a great idea. Here's $500,000. Go find that out. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. I do love hearing from each and every one of you. Please, please, please be kind to each other. Or at least don't argue with me, because goodness me, it's just so exhausting. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
You know, I don't know where to start. We sit here and talk about COVID, and we'll touch on it. We talk about the recall, we'll touch on it. But I like funny stuff. Humor is an amazing, incredible thing. It really is. When you're feeling down, when you're feeling sad, when, just the giddiness of people, making people laugh. And yesterday we lost a brilliant man named Norm Macdonald, who was, to me, just one of the top 5 going right now, and definitely, one of the top 10 period out there as far as I was concerned, of just dry sense of humor, who took things on that nobody else, a genius, who I loved watching him. And the thing he did in this day and age is he challenged things when you didn't do it. And he's always done that. He has always done that. This morning when we do our phone call in the morning, and producer Anthony and I get on the phone, we start talking, and he's like, I went down a Norm Macdonald rabbit hole yesterday. I said, I did the same thing. And I went down it, and I kept, every time you turn, you'd find something new. Every time you turn, you would go and you would find something that was just different. By the way, he was Letterman's first.
So I love the TV. I saw a cat food commercial, and I said at the end of it, said, all natural food for your cat. All natural food. But cat food's made out of horse meat. Yeah, that's the way it works in nature. The cat right above the horse in the food chain. Matter of fact, every time my kitty gets a little cooped up in the apartment, I need to take him down to a racetrack, let him stalk some prey down there. So cute, and he comes trotting back with a stallion hanging out of his mouth there,
1990. He was the first Letterman stand-up, and he was also Letterman's last.
There is one country that worries me, though. Not Iraq, not Iran, not North Korea. The only country that really worries me is the country of Germany. In the early part of the previous century, Germany decided to go to war. And who did they go to war with? The world. It had never been tried before. And so you figure that would take about 5 seconds for the world to win, but no, it was actually close.
Right? So he's hammering Germany in this day and age. I love it. He wasn't done there. Again, 2015. So think about this. 25 years in between. The way that Letterman ended it was, you know what? My first comic was Norm. My last comic's going to be Norm.
Then about 30 years pass, and Germany decides again to go to war, and again it chooses as its enemy the world. But you'd think at that point the world will go, listen, Germany, here's the deal. You don't get to be a country no more on account of you keep attacking the world.
And he always made me laugh. And in a day and age of political correctness, in a day and age of watch what you say, be careful about this, and you can, he took on everybody and everything. And I go back a few years and to what was something, this is 10 days after the crocodile hunter dies. He goes on The Daily Show with Jon Stewart. So the crocodile hunter died 10 days previous. And this is Norm being Norm. This wasn't part of anything. They just asked him a question. And he just kind of he just said, I'm going to answer a different question.
I wanted to talk about the crocodile hunter. Did you? Because I think... Yeah,
you're going to make him sad.
Because I think, it was tragic at the time.
It's 10 days earlier he died.
But I think... I don't know. People call me, and then they're shocked. Oh, hey, you wouldn't believe it. Who got killed? The crocodile hunter.
So now here's the beauty of this. If you listen to Jon Stewart, and this is what was brilliant about Norm. Norm, he challenged the norms, if you will. He came at you with stuff, and his goal was to make you laugh and then feel awful about the fact that you laugh at something. 10 days earlier, the crocodile hunter dies, and Norm is on The Daily Show promoting Ridiculous, which was his CD at the time, for those of you guys, as a compact disc. But in doing so, he's getting Jon Stewart to say, please I don't want to laugh at this.
Please don't make me laugh at this.
He was 44 years old. I'm like, that's a ripe old age for a crocodile hunter.
And now this is where Norm's brilliant comes in. Is he's going to take something where you can, like, okay, get it ended there. Now he's going to give you backstories and little things and paint pictures. And you can't not understand his genius. And again, he's kind of the only one his goal, he came out there expressly, not to make the audience laugh. He wanted Jon Stewart to feel uncomfortable. He wanted Jon Stewart to laugh. That's the kind of guy he was. It was more about, in many cases, making the other comics laugh than it was the audience.
That's not. And you know who had to be pissed about it were the crocodiles, because he got killed by some fruity fish. And so you know the crocodiles were like, hey man, that crocodile hunter got killed. Who did it, Frank? Nah, you don't even want to know, man.
Please don't do this anymore. This
Go, Bill, man, you had a chance once. The guy go, man, I had a chance. I had that mother. He was Tommy with a stick. I could have eat him and his kid.
I don't feel good about this.
You remember I ever tell you that story, Bill? Yeah, only 1,000 times.
That's just brilliant. And laughter's an amazing thing. When we look at the world that we live in now, we need more of it. And we need more people, at this point in time, I look at the press and I think the press is a joke, right? Because you're not there to report on the news. You're not there to break anything. You're there for salaciousness. So comics more than ever, I think, are important because they're the ones who do challenge the norm. They're the ones who keep people in check in many ways with others. Well, they're the ones who call out the BS in many other ways when others don't. They're the ones that do make us think and make us cringe at times. And I think more so than ever, we need more Norm Macdonalds who will, not because you're trying to get likes or clicks, take on something controversial, not because you're willing to do something and talk about something that others won't, even though they may want to. And you do it in such a way that it softens it, but it keeps people honest. I go back to the bravest comic in the world was killed in Afghanistan, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, when the Taliban took over. And he made fun of the Taliban up to his death. And he kept telling him, this is why you guys will never win, because you don't have a sense of humor. You can't laugh at yourself. Always be wary of people who don't have a sense of humor. And I'm not talking about being funny, just can't laugh. There's a couple great books out there about the communist regime and Lenin, and you start to read it and realize that none of those people had a sense of humor. It showed in their decorations, right, and their outfits. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Yesterday, it was a crushing blow to the people that thought maybe Christian Bale, a.k.a. the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, would be thrown out.
Until the past couple of weeks, Newsom and his Republican rival were polling neck and neck. But then the Democratic machine began rolling to fight this recall. And all of that changed. In fact, last night, Newsom's victory was so lopsided that the race was called barely half an hour after polls closed.
Yeah. Now, the gap is closing. But at the end of the day, they poured tons of money in it. They threw more than a ton of money in it. They continued to throw money in it. It cost the state well over $250 million. He had to call in his friends to help. There was a lot. And did they learn anything from this? That I don't know. One thing's for sure, this is where the Republicans are going to have to figure it out if you ever want to win in a state. See, here's the thing. When I always tell people, when you usually see, very rarely does somebody flip a seat somewhere, right? It just doesn't happen. Well, it does. Yeah, but it doesn't happen. And you very rarely do you see people's hearts and minds changed because somebody's come in and you're like, that person makes sense. I like what that person says. You usually have to get to a point where it's just so awful and people are so over something that they're really voting against that. Republicans are going to have a tough time doing that. You can be, pro climate change and pro choice and pro gay marriage, but you're not going to, even in California, you're going to have a tough time winning the hearts and minds. Usually when you see seats get flipped, it's because, quite frankly, people that voted one way usually move, or other people from all over other places move into a place and their politics come with it. And you haven't really changed anybody's minds. You've just changed the makeup of the electorate. And that is, I would love to see somebody who could come in and be in a position where they're like, that person makes sense. I like that. Your ideas, you're trying to beat that person's ideas with your ideas. You're not trying to beat that person with the fact that that person just sucks less than you do. That'd be great. And this is a referendum, not so much on the Democratic Party in some ways, but just over the insanity of COVID and the way that he handled it. But it also shows that in places like California, if you're a Republican, it's a tough ask. Minus a few places, you know what you're going to get. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. All right, kids and kittens, boys and girls. Let's just say you want to be ready. Oh. Maybe you've struggled in the past with a little dysfunction of the erectile nature. Oh, ED. But you want to be ready because that moment is arriving. You want to be Roman ready. Right now, go to GetRoman.com/Chad. Talk to a U.S. licensed healthcare professional. Professional, yeah. Free online evaluation, ongoing care, free ED. All from the comfort and privacy of your own home. Because you want to be Roman ready, right? Like, you go out, you have a nice meal. It's happening. Oh, it's happening. She's ready. It's happening. It's happening. And at that moment, it starts to happen. And you're going to think, dang it, Chad, you're in my mind because you were the one who helped me with Roman get ready for this. Yes. It's my end goal right there. It is a U.S. licensed professional. That's what you're going to work with. And if they find the best treatment that works for you, medication is appropriate, they're going to ship it to you free within 2 shipping days. It is simple and it's easy. It is discreet. Go to GetRoman.com. Complete an online visit right there. Take care of your ED without ever leaving your home. Complete online visit today, right now, free. GetRoman.com/Chad. And if you're prescribed, 50% off your first month ED treatment. Make sure you're ready to have confidence and control. Get Roman ready. Chad Benson Show.
Warning, no snowflake zone. Uninformed opinions are in danger of melting. The Chad Benson Show.
Apple unveiling a new Apple Watch and a couple of new iPads.
iPad mini is in a class of its own.
The new iPad mini saw the biggest update with an edge-to-edge screen in a similar design to the iPad Pro, but with a smaller footprint.
Now, let's talk about iPhone.
Well, the iPhone 13 comes in 2 sizes and features an upgraded chip and a slightly smaller notch at the top. And similar to last year, there are also 2 iPhone 13 Pro models that include a more advanced camera array.
You know what's weird is I did not know that the iPads had feet. Did you, Phil? Did you have any idea?
No, I actually don't own an iPad or iPad.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. You guys want an iPad 29? It's pretty awesome. Costs $4,300. It's pretty cool. It's not going to be as good as the one that comes out in 3 weeks, but it's pretty much cool. You got to have it. It's a must. It's an absolute must to have. It's an iPad. You never had one of those? iPads? It's an iPad inside of an iPad inside of an iPad. It's pretty iPad-y. It also has smaller feet. This new iPad is remember that one we sold you guys last year? Sucks. It's a piece of crap. Okay? It's so crap. My kids were playing with it the other day, took it out, smashed it with a hammer. That's how bad. This one is the one. And the people are like, yes, must get that. Because that one hooks to the internet, but this one hooks to the super internet. It's just, oh, goodness me. But it shows you brand recognition, right? It's all about brand recognition. Must have it. Must have it. I have had iPhones. Right now I have an Android. I got what's the Galaxy, whatever, bobber. I don't know. It's not like I do, and we have an iPad Pro at the house, and we also have, what is that thing called? Oh, a tablet. That one's pretty much, its feet are bigger. That's what makes it tougher. It's like, its feet is so big on this tablet. That's how I get my stuff now. I want to know what kind of carbon footprint it is. Just like with blood diamonds. Is it a blood diamond? The bloodiest. I'll take it. I want to know people suffered for this. Hey, when I surf the internet on this, are penguins dying? They are. Fantastic. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. People are probably listening going, that guy's the worst. Settle down. It's comedy. We're having a little bit of fun. I just like the whole thing about and this one has a smaller footprint. If you would have said that 10 years ago, somebody would have thought, what do feet have to do with an iPad? Oh, well, in a few years, you'll figure it out. Okay. Yeah, it's important. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. People were texting in, talking about some of their favorite Norm comedy bits. And he was brilliant, and we'll touch a little bit more on it throughout the rest of the show. But some of the stuff he did when he took on OJ, he took on Cosby, and people in Saturday Night Live were like, you better stop. And he's like, I don't care. That was Norm. That was Norm in a nutshell. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Can I just say this? When you need a doctor, you should always seek the best medical advice. When you need to listen to somebody who's telling you something, you go and you find the best medical advice. Period. Case closed. End of story. That's why I always turn to Dr. Minaj.
One, we think it's important to debunk disinformation, especially when it comes to people with huge social media followings. So this is the question. Rapper Nicki Minaj says that her cousin's friend, and she put this on social media, she has 22 million followers. She said he has swollen testicles after taking the vaccine. She cited that actually as one of the reasons that she has yet to be vaccinated. She claims that she's not against the vaccine, but she says she wants to do more research.
Yeah, she does. She wants to do more research. She's 22.6 million followers, of which I am one. Just want to let you guys know that, because she is Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj. So her testicles were not swollen, because she does not have any. But her cousin's friend, apparently.
Let it soak in.
Nicki Minaj wasn't among the stars all dressed up for Monday night's Met Gala in New York. She tweeted ahead of the event, quote, "They want you to get vaccinated for the Met. If I get vaccinated, it won't be for the Met. It'll be once I feel I've done enough research," which she says she's working on. That started a back and forth that's still going, many including Meghan McCain and MSNBC's Joy Reid saying Minaj is doing a disservice to her more than 20 million followers. Minaj tweeting an unproven claim about someone getting vaccinated and becoming impotent. But she says she's not anti-vax and will probably get it to go on tour.
Which is what she's already said. She has every right to say, I want to take a look. But she wouldn't even go to the Met. Right? You guys remember the Met? That's where the whitest of white people, the people that are sitting in the ruling class comes together. Somebody asked me yesterday, what is the Met Gala for? Well, I will break this down for you. First of all, it's to make a splash. It's to make a splash. It is a Costume Institute Gala. That's what it used to be called, but they've now just called it the Met Gala or the Met Ball. All right? It benefits stuff. the Museum of Arts. You ready for this? You're like, hold on, what was it raising money for? The Costume Institute. Excuse me, what? Homelessness? No. The gala is widely regarded as amongst the most prominent, most exclusive social events in the world. $30,000 a ticket. It's one of the biggest fundraising nights in New York City, with $9 million raised in 2013, up to record-breaking numbers over the last several years. Last year, they didn't have it. And, of course, you got the, Anna Wintours and the Tom Fords of the world. And they all come out, and everybody dresses up, and you have tax the rich, tax the rich.
My God, tax the rich. What a model, AOC. Wow, I didn't know you model as well.
Oh, and my God, you're the best. You are. She wants to remind everybody she's just like you.
When Aurora and I were first kind of partnered, we really started having a conversation about what it means to be working class women of color at the Met. And we said, we can't just play along, but we need to break the fourth wall and challenge some of the institutions. And while the Met is known for its spectacle, we should have a conversation about it.
Yeah. No, it's known for, the Met doesn't care who you are, right? I don't care if you're black or white. I don't care if you're gay or straight. It cares, are you wealthy and are you of power? If I had 2 tickets, you know who I'm taking? I'm not even doing that. I'm going out and finding the craziest. I'm going to go get some people who are struggling, maybe homeless. I'm going to give them the tickets. And people are going to be like, oh, my God, homeless chic is awesome. What are you wearing today? Pants I've had on for 7 months that I can't get off. I love your hair. Yeah, that's a pigeon. Chad has turned this into a nightmare. But she's got her, her eat the, tax the rich. She wanted all of what she wanted. Essie Cup put it perfectly because, again, it's so many of these people who want to make up the rules. None of them ever want to live in it. So you have King of Socialism de Blasio, who's out there. And there was a great post yesterday, and I tried to find it, but I was in the midst of doing something. And it shows all these people at the Met Gala, right? So they're all there, and they're $50,000 gowns, and they're in their, they're wearing all of the best of the best, and they're all being waited on hand and foot, which I don't care about. I find some of it just insane, just the costumes. Like, who would wear that? But whatever. What I do find should piss people off is the fact that none of them were masked. And one lady put it great. My kid has to wear a mask all day at school, but this? It's a fair question.
She wanted to have her cake and eat it too. She wanted to go to the very elite event that in many ways celebrates art, but also celebrates excess. And she wanted to wear an expensive custom designer gown, which she did. She wanted to have her hair and makeup done by celebrity stylists, which she did. She wanted to get ready at the Carlisle Hotel, a very nice, ritzy, glitzy hotel in New York, and she did. And she wanted to rub elbows with celebrities, which she did, all the while hoping to draw attention to a message that, are we talking about economic inequality today? Or are we talking about the stunt?
Yeah. No, because people look at her and they're like, it's do as I say, not as I do. Do as I say, not as I do. And that's what people look at. The reason that there was I think the recall picked up steam in California while it failed was the fact that the searing thing in people's minds last year is here's the pandemic. You're putting stringent rules on businesses. You're shutting down people's livelihoods. You're sending people home. You're telling them you cannot earn a living. I am shutting you down because of this thing. And then here is Gavin Newsom, and he's in a damn restaurant with other people without a mask on. You've got the likes of Nancy Pelosi and many others who are doing things, right? Where she's getting her hair cut. At salons are supposed to be closed, but there she is. You've got the Ted Cruzes of the world out there is like, oh, it's really cold here and things are breaking apart. I should probably get out of here. On the way to Cabo. Optics play a huge part. But when I look at this is modern day royalty. Celebrities. And that's what she is. She's a celebrity. Many of them are. They're more interested in Twitter. They're more interested in Instagram. They're more interested in the likes, the shares, the views. They're not interested in coming to solutions and finding solutions to problems and trying to unite. Love every second of it, of the celebrity of it all. Could you imagine? What'd you do with your Met tickets, Chad? Oh, you'll see. Oh, my Lord. Then there's going to be a guy, right? I was driving down the street the other day, and I'm going to say it. I'm going to be as straightforward as it is, man. Sometimes homeless abs are spot on. There's a guy the other day. I'm driving down the street, and I'm stuck at this light, and this guy, he's got like one side of his pants are rolled up to like his knee, and the other side's down. He's got shoes with no laces. He's got a hat on, but no shirt, tan as can be, but he is a six-pack, and that's the guy I would have sent to the Met. And then you know what happened? People would have thought he's chic, and next thing you know, he'd have signed a huge deal for modeling. And I would have said to myself, that's how I give back, kids. That's how I do it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Best earbuds on the planet. Raycons. You will love these. So when you order your Raycons, first of all, they start under $70. You go to buyraycon.com/Chad. You're going to save 15% right there. You're going to notice when you get it. All right, cool. Great little packing case. Okay, what is this? Oh, it's a case. What's the case do? Well, it comes fully charged. It's going to give your earbuds 4 full charges. There are no stems. There are no wires. You're going to get 6 soft gel tips that you're able to put on there, and you test them to find out which one fits your ear best. Noise isolating fit? Check. Best sound quality and design? Check. Stems, wires? Nope. Absolute brilliant design that will give you the best sound. 45-day happiness guarantee. You're going to love these. I love mine. I wear them a lot because I'm always editing. I'm always doing something. I'm very busy in the world of audio and even video stuff. And it's nice to know that I can hook up really quick and go. You will love, love, love these. Get your Raycons now. Pick a great color. You choose your awesome colors of the red, which is awesome, the blue, the black, the white. They're all incredible. Get that 45-day happiness guarantee and save money. Buyraycon.com/Chad saves you 15%. Buyraycon.com/Chad. Buyraycon.com/Chad. At Chad Benson Show, Twitter, ChadBenson. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show, where we reach across the aisle and occasionally poke someone in the eye.
Company out there right now, pay you $1,300, $100 a movie to watch some of the scurry movies of all time. I have applied for it, hoping because of my status as a professional racquetball player. You're not a racquetball player. I know, nobody knows. But I hope I get it, because first of all, I've seen every one of these movies like 100 times. Secondly, I will watch every one of these movies. But they want to see how, scary things are. And see what really scares people. Some of the movies, The Exorcist, Halloween, the original. I can't wait for the next one. Paranormal Activity. And if you've never seen Paranormal Activity, can I just say, freaking brilliant movie. An absolute brilliant, brilliant movie. It is incredible. I just have to say, and you got to think about this too, $15,000 is what it cost them to make that movie. It grossed over $193 million. Total budget for the movie with advertising. So you think about this. Normally in Hollywood, let's say a movie costs $100 million. You split the difference for advertising. So $100 million means the total budget for the movie is $150 million, because they're going to give you about half of that for advertising. They gave them $1 million. And originally, when Steven Spielberg had bought the movie originally, and when he saw the reaction of people, because they were going to refilm it, make it more of a scurry movie, like you would think with the Hollywood, he said, no, we're keeping it this way. And that was a great idea. So $1,300 to watch scary movies. Sign me up. Speaking of scary, well, Hurricane Nicholas is here. It's getting towards that creepy time of year. Might as well head down to the beach.
As the rain and wind intensified and the waves were getting high, a dark figure appeared on the beach. A dead ringer for the villain in the Halloween movie franchise.
I've been pulling this stuff for a while.
Meet Mark Metzger.
Back in Harvey, I surfed in a business suit.
He was wandering the beach in a black jumpsuit, a Michael Myers mask, and carrying a rubber knife. Someone called the cops.
First thing he said to me when he pulled my mask off was, "Whose blood is on the knife?" "No, it's a rubber knife, sir. It's a prop."
Why all the pranks? It's part of Metzger's mantra.
Have fun.
Despite the disorderly conduct charge against him,
Brother, if I had to do it all over again, I absolutely would.
He may defend himself against the misdemeanor charge. Metzger is a lawyer.
I love it. Have fun, baby. That's it. Life. We're learning about that today. The passing of Norm Macdonald, who makes a lot of people laugh, but just we have gotten to the point now we can't have conversations with one another. We fight all the time. It's just people aren't laughing the way they used to. They aren't smiling the way everybody's uptight, and COVID has thrown a wrench into a lot of people's lives. And at the same time, it's caused a lot of people to rethink. And I think we need more fun. I think we need more laughter. I think we need more people taking on the challenges of the status quo and the power and goofing around. And the dude went out there, and it's hilarious. And I love it's a knife, bro. And by the way, it didn't really look, because you watch it and you're like, I saw some of the video and I'm like, I don't know, like if I got it's like, did you guys know that he was, Michael Myers was 5'10" and, about 20 pounds overweight? No, I didn't know. I was unaware. Unaware of that. I'm struggling. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from all of you. So I talked a bit about this earlier, and I think it needs to be talked about more. And it's a perfect example of being able to talk to our kids. And Instagram and Facebook, and they're hearing it from people about a study, but also about some of the stuff that they had known about, and that some of these letters, internal memos, got out and leaked in regards to teens, in particular girls, and Instagram.
According to a slide from a March 2020 presentation, 32% of teen girls said when they feel bad about their bodies, Instagram made them feel worse. Another slide stating, we make body image issues worse for 1 in 3 teen girls who experience these issues. And teens blame Instagram for increases in the rate of anxiety and depression.
Well, it's hard. I can't blame them for that. I can't. When I was a kid growing up, in your 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, you got hormones coursing through your veins, and you're what's happening? And you're comparing yourself to others because that's what we do. Now, does this exacerbate it? It's possible. There's no doubt about that. What it does do is it gives an unrealistic perspective in ways that magazines, you'd have to go down, you have to buy and stuff. This gives an instantaneous perspective of things. And, when I was a kid, you didn't live in the magazine all day. You do live online. Online is very real. To me, online is online. Like when it comes to social media, if it went away, I'm like, okay. But for kids, it's different. They live there. This is important to them. But what are they to do? Like, what's Instagram to do? All right, here's the deal. You can't touch up anything anymore, and we only want people of size. We only want, certain things. If you're a size 0 and, if you look like Megan Fox, we're going to have to ask you to leave here. No longer post pictures of that. It's tough. That's where parents come in. That's where you could look at your kids. Like I said, I was very honest about my son when it came to football. He loved football, but I think he got frustrated. I finally told him one day, dude, you're blessed with my speed, which is none. Oh, you can run all day, but you don't have speed. I said, you got a great arm, but if you're dreaming of going somewhere, it's probably not going to happen. Plus he didn't have the stick-to-itiveness that I did with stuff. I was honest with him, and he was totally cool with that because he asked me. And we have to talk to our kids about stuff and set realistic expectations. Yes, you can be anything, but at the same time, certain things play a part that others just don't. Genes, things like that. And I'm not talking about Sassoons. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Got you over the hump. You guys have a blessed day. We'll do it again tomorrow on Night Night Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.